How's it going, boys? Johnny Superb Man here, and it's time that we break down NHL 20's simulation engine once again. We've already made some great discoveries last time with the goaltenders, figuring out that you don't need a high overall goaltender to have a successful team during the simulation. But this time, I want to figure out if there's any differences between the real-time simulation when you jump into a game and you go period by period, compared to the QuickTime simulation that you guys see me use during the regular season when you're just going from month to month nice and quickly. I always felt like once you get to the playoffs, your team doesn't quite play like it did during the regular season. Right now, that might just be coincidence. It might be my own bias. We're going to figure it out. We're going to break it apart. I've got my own way of doing things. And just like before, if you guys see a problem or if you see something I haven't found, point it out. This is an experiment. So let's jump into franchise mode. So what you're looking at right here is opening day in preseason, year number 1, and we have chosen the Tampa Bay Lightning. The reason I'm going with the Lightning is they're typically a team that does well over the course of the regular season. So what I've done is I've made a save file right here at the beginning with these settings on. We have no injuries. The computers are not allowed to make any trades. The reason I saved it right here, and we're going to be using this file over and over again, is so that the coaches for each team is exactly the same, and we are going to simulate to the end of the year 3 different times with the Tampa Bay Lightning and take apart team stats and also player stats. We're going to average those 3 simulations just to get a base number, and then I am going to simulate an entire season going into each and every single game and simulating period by period. That's right, boys. That's dedication you want to see in an NHL YouTuber, correct? So, yeah, I mean, geez, we're going to use power of video editing in this one. You don't need to see any of this sim. So let's jump to the end of year number 1. And here we are, end of year number 1. And, yeah, a typical season for the Tampa Bay Lightning. 120 points, 57, 19, and 6. So this is exactly what I wanted to see, right? During the, and we're going to call this the QuickTime simulation, when we're going through the entire regular season and we are not going into the game. The QuickTime simulation, I feel, gives you a more accurate depiction of how your roster is created. Like when you go into the playoffs, I mean, it could be over in 4 games, right? And if you just get a bad sim for 4 games in a row, it can make you feel like crap. But over the course of 82 games, you know, the good teams typically do rise to the top, especially teams that are offensive heavy, right? Now that we know that goaltenders aren't really that special, and the blue liners, yes, they're special, but the offensive blue liners, right? That's why I picked Tampa. Guys like Kucherov, Point, Stamkos. And speaking of Point, we're going to jump into these standings and to these stats. I'm going to bring together all 3 seasons on one page so it's easier for you guys to see, but I just want to go through some of this. So 120 points. The stats that we're looking at is goals for per game, 344, goals against per game, 232, power play percentage, 20.8, penalty kill percentage, 83.4. Those are the main team stats that we want to track. And when it comes to the player stats, it's essentially goals, assists, points. Don't worry about plus, minus, or anything like that. And then the final 4 stats: takeaway, giveaway, block shots, and hits, because these are the advanced analytics. And I was really wondering whether or not the QuickTime sim and the real-time sim had similar advanced analytics, or would Braden Point have like 200 body checks, something crazy like that, right? So you can see year number 1. Now we're going to just jump right to year number 2. So here's the exact same save file from the beginning of the season, but I went back and I resimmed the season using the quick sim. And essentially the same type of year. The Lightning again have over 50 wins, 112 points. It wasn't 57, but you know, that's a question that I need to ask you guys. Do you want seasons that are identical even if you go back and restart it? Because in this universe, there are no trades. There are no injuries. So the lineups are exactly the same. The scheduling is exactly the same. The coaches are exactly the same. Do we want season sims that are predictable, or do you like a little bit of randomness, considering it is the sport of hockey? And I'd say out of all the major sports, I mean, hockey has the biggest element of randomness in it, right? But if we look at the Tampa Bay Lightning, remember those stats. I'm going to flash them all on the screen at the end for you. But 3.4 goals per game, 2.55, so we're right there. Power play percentage was right there as well. Penalty kill went sky high, though, 89.1. Interesting. And this time around, it wasn't Braden Point with 90 plus points. in the season, it was Steven Stamkos at 80. So there is a sizable downgrade in points per season for Braden Point, and also Stamkos came up. Again, do we want that element of randomness, or would we like to see more consistency from season to season, even if you quit and go back? Let me know. We got one more to go, though. All right, I did it one more time with the quick sim. Let's jump to it. And here we are, the end of the third simulation, the exact same save file as the first two, and man alive, have we seen a huge drop-off in point production. The Tampa Bay Lightning, 43 wins on the year. Now, the first save file, 57 wins. The second save file, 53 wins, right? The third one, 43? That's a drop-off of 14 wins, 28 points right there. Now, in my opinion, I think that's a little bit too much. I mean, I have the same roster. I'm going up against the same rosters. There are no in-season trades. There's no injuries to worry about. The coaches all start on the same teams. So what happened here? This seems like it's a little bit too much of a swing, because on one simulation, the team is the best in the NHL and wins the Presidents. And on the exact same sim with the exact same team, you're capable of having that team with, 14 less regulation wins? Woo! So sometimes you're going to have a team that could make the playoffs, but just doesn't. All right. So I want to jump again back into the individual stats. We're going to make it a little bit easier for you so you can compare and you don't have to go back. The Tampa Bay Lightning, so our points were way down. Goals for per game, 280. So I'll put the first 2 years at the top of the screen there. Goals for per game, 280. Now in year one, our goals for per game was 344, and our second was 340. So how does that happen? It's the exact same sim, the exact same team, the exact same roster, exact same lines. Kucherov, Stamkos. How do we go from a 344 to a 340, which that makes sense. That little bit of difference from year one to year two makes sense for me. But then down to 280, I mean, tell me why. Goals against, 280. Again, my God. Year one, 232. Year two, 255. So that's skyrocketed. Power play percentage, 20.6. That stayed about the same. Year one was 20.8. Year two was 19.3. So the power play didn't change. So it was just 5-on-5, even strength. We couldn't find a way to score. And the penalty kill got worse from year two, but was better from year one. So the power play and penalty kill stats seem to be about the same, but 5-on-5 just completely changed for us. And when we take a look at the player stats, right, I'm going to bring up Braden Point right here. We're going to highlight Braden Point on the screen. And the same thing, we're going to put years 1 and 2 at the top. All right, Braden Point this season, only 73 points, 19 goals. In the first season, 30. Now, 11 goal difference, it seems like a lot the lower the total number is. Like, say Ovechkin scores 60 for you, right? And then you quit out, you save before the season, he gets 60, you quit out, you come back in, and you sim again, and he only gets you 49. That doesn't seem like it's too much of a drop-off, because he's still a bona fide goal scorer. But when it goes from 30 down to 19, oof, that's rough. So the assists are still there for Braden Point. Yeah, 50-something assists. The points are still there. And what about the takeaways to giveaways? Because I really didn't show you guys this just yet. These seem to be very similar. All right, there are some changes, but overall, these numbers, yeah, I'm not going to go crazy on that. Nothing. So the Quicktime simulation, all right, year to year, it doesn't seem like it's very consistent. The biggest change was from year 1 to year 3. So it's going to be hard to see what the in-game simulation is going to tell us, because if it's somewhere there in the middle, you know, it's all relative. But if we see some stat, some goalie stat, some player stat, something that is just egregious, we can use that to our advantage in the future. But I want to showcase goaltenders, all right? Andrei Vasilevsky. Look what he did here with the team, still making the playoffs, 43, 31, and 8. He had a .915 save percentage. That's still really good. He's a 91 overall goaltender. If you look at his numbers from years 1 and years 2, again, still good, all right? Now we're going to get to the in-game simulation. And you guys remember what happened with Tuukka Rask when we do playoffs, right? So I'm going to jump right to the end of the season. Thank God I already did it last night, so don't worry about me. I'm not going to be here stuck hours. I was doing it last night while I was watching something in the background. So we're all gravy, baby. But the real-time sim full regular season. Let's go. And the moment of truth, the fourth fourth simulation of the Tampa Bay Lightnings with the exact same team, but this time around, we went real time. Every single game, all 82. I jumped in, simulated the first, second, and third, and I don't know if this is fact or not, but I've made some determinations on the findings that I've encountered. And look at this, the worst season out of all 4 years, 42, 31, and 9. Now, ever since we switched to current gen, I've had a hell of a time trying to win the Stanley Cup. Are you telling me that once we get into the playoffs, because I go into the Quicktime simulation, or real-time simulation, it actually hurts me because it becomes more random? Remember, year one with the Quick, this same team had 57 wins, and now we are down to 42. Interesting. Let's dive into this, and I need you guys as well to point out anything that I may not have seen. All right, there's a lot of numbers in here. I didn't want to confuse you guys too much, so we kept the basic numbers, but you hardcore fans, if you want to go back, pause the video, and compare, go ahead, be my guest. So the Tampa Bay Lightning, right? Now, there's a very interesting stat in here. First off, goals for per game. Now, think about this. Last year, I'm going to put the stats up, year 1, year 2, year 3 as well. But last season, we had one more points, 94 points on the year, and yet our goals for per game was 280. Our goals for per game this season is above 3, yet we had less points. Goals against per game, 290, the worst it's ever been. Goaltender stats, boys. I think that the goalies suffer big time when you actually go into the game. And there's another part of this. Continue. Power play percentage, 24.6%, all right? That is clearly the best. Now, in the first 3 years, they were pretty similar, 20.8, 19.3, 20.6. It jumps to 24.6. That's a huge jump right there. That's a huge jump. And the penalty kill, 86.8. We've already seen it jump like that. It was 89 in year 2. It was lower in years 1 and 3. So that seems to be pretty consistent, but the power play percentage. Now, there's another piece to this. We go back into the player stats, all right? I want to show you something here. Power play points. When it comes to Braden Point, year 1, he had 26 power play points. Year 2, 23. Year 3, 22. And he jumps up now to 35. Where did that come from? All right. Power plays seem to be far more potent during the real-time simulation. That is a huge jump. It was 26, 23, 22. That's consistent. That's a 4-goal gap. And it jumps to 35? Where did that come from? So I'm wondering if goaltenders suffer on the power play during the real-time simulation. You know, because here's the thing about the power play goals. When you score a power play goal, the skaters on the ice, they don't suffer a minus. It doesn't hurt them. But guess what? When the goalie allows a goal in the power play, his save percentage still gets hit. His goals against average still gets hit. So if there's more power plays happening and there's more power play goals happening, but the same amount of shot totals per game, and that's how they even it out, of course goaltender stats are going to be way down. And that brings up the question, what did Vasilevsky do this year? 907 save percentage. All right? So a very similar to year number 3, and yet in year 3 his numbers were still superior. And look at his numbers in the earlier years. So, and McElhaney as well. Jeez. So I'm thinking that the real-time sim, there's a lot of numbers there that we didn't get to look at. There might be more that I haven't uncovered, but I think for sure power play stats are affected big time with this. And there's only one more thing that we can do. With this season, I'm going to load it back up again. The Kucherov season went 92 points. What we're going to do, just a one-off, all right? We're going to try to simulate the playoffs. One with the QuickTime simulation, the one that I did during the regular season, and also the playoff simulation. First, we'll do the playoff simulation because this is the one that... This is the one where the goaltenders hurt. So I want to see Andrei Vasilevsky's stats after this, all right? Now, this is how I simulated the regular season. I pressed A just to sim the periods. If you guys think it would be even different if you left it on ×1 and you simulated this way, you know, be my guest and go ahead and try it out. But hang on. What the hell? Sim period. Is it not going? 1 times. No, there you go. It really takes its sweet-ass time on 1 times. If you guys want to try to simulate a whole season that way, be my guest. I ain't doing that. All right, I'm pressing the A button. And the Tampa Bay Lightning come back in game number 1, all right? So that's essentially what I did all this season with this team. This is the save file where we did that, and the goaltender stats just get shat on. And our power play stats went way up there, but other teams' power play stats were not, right? Because they still have the Quicktime simulation, because they're not going into the games like I am. So I just want to go through the playoffs here and see if we have a better run without simulating. And I'm trying to think about strategies as well. So if you have a shitty goalie, do you want to go into the real-time simulation so that the other team doesn't have an advantage? Whereas if you have a good goalie, then you want to have the QuickTime simulation. I'm starting to think, look at this. Vasilevsky's letting in goals, so is Carey Price. The goals go in when you're doing QuickTime sims like that, 5-4, right? But when you do a real time, I'm getting all the freaking the terms messed up. QuickTime sim is when you're doing the season sim. In-game sim is the playoff sim. I'm sorry, boys. I'm confusing the hell out of you. But it seems like the in-game sim, a lot more goals are scored. So what is the series lead right now? 3-0 for the Tampa Bay Lightning. At least we are smoking the Montreal Canadiens right here. 2 goals scored for Montreal. All right, they come back to make it a 3-1 series lead for Tampa. Remember, they do have Carey Price on the team. But I'm beginning to think that goaltender stats, they're the ones that suffer. They're the ones that suffer big time. I wonder if there was some sort of programming note. I don't know if it was from this game or the last game, where they just wanted more goals to be scored during the sim for every single team. I noticed that it doesn't matter who you have on your first line, chances are you're going to have a point per game player. That didn't used to be the case. So if the same amount of shots are happening per game on average, but more goals are going in, yeah, then the players are going to look great, but the goalies are going to suffer. Those goalie stats are going to be way low. So that's why I was beginning to think, is it the team itself that results in the goaltenders' Vezina caliber stats? You need to have a President's Trophy winning team essentially to get that. I don't know, man. I'm all over the place, but we're doing pretty good with our Boston Bruins and Logan Brissett as our goaltender. And here with the Tampa Bay Lightning, we're doing pretty good as well. Off to the second round up against the Toronto Maple Leafs. Now, if we win like this, that'll just be Murphy's Law. And then I'll do a QuickTime sim, we'll lose in the first round. And then the experiment just goes to shit, right? So the Toronto Maple Leafs win game number 2. It seems like Andrei Vasilevsky's playing pretty good so far in these playoffs. Had a few bad games against the Montreal Canadiens, but a 1-0 loss in overtime, not his fault. And a 2-1 loss in game number 2, not his fault. All right. Don't know if we're going to get more power play goals. I mean, we should. That's what the numbers said. But is it going to be enough to get those W's? And Tampa Bay wins it 5-4. Great job. Yeah, they score, we score. We score, they score. It's going to be a little bit longer. I could do some power of video editing, but you never know what may happen live here. We may just lose 3 in a row, and I want to get that reaction. So, this shouldn't even be that long of a video up until now with the edits that I made. I already made sure to go through and do it all myself. I did the long-ass simulation the other night. It took, I think almost 2 hours. I probably could have been more efficient with it, but I was always looking away, listening to something, watching something on YouTube, Just took my time with it. Didn't grind it out. Didn't drive myself crazy. So what is it, a 3-1 series lead for Toronto? Let's see, Toronto up 2-1, and Tampa Bay, they live to fight another day, scoring 2 goals in the third period, and they're going to force a Game 6 at Toronto. What was the Leafs record? 43-31, 33-6. Yeah, it's essentially the same as ours. Simulate. Yeah, I'm getting less and less confident with a roster once you get to the playoffs, man. Anything can happen in these sims. There you go, Tampa. Nice job forcing a Game 7. Andrei Vasilevsky might actually be having a good season. But this is the QuickTime sim, right? I mean, this is the real-time sim. This is the exact same thing that I did for him over the course of the year. So here it is, Game 7 up against the Toronto Maple Leafs, who's got a 3-3 going into the third period, and the Tampa Bay Lightning score 2, McDonough and Stammer, baby. Hell yeah. So let's just do a little check. We are 2 rounds in. I feel like, okay, so before we look at the stats, my findings say that our offensive players should be point per game or better, right? Because they're getting more power play opportunities, but our goaltender stats should be worse. That's what the real-time sim feels like. So forwards, yeah, point per game, point per game, point per game. Stamkos could use a few more points. What about the defenseman? Point per game. See, a lot more points happening for our team. And goaltend, real good save percentage. All right. So, I don't know. Vasilevsky, how come you didn't do that during the regular season, my man? You had a horrible, save percentage during the regular season. Let's just advance day. Let's see what happens in round number 3 up against the Buffalo Sabres. They shouldn't be too tough of a team. Look at these two teams with 42 wins in the conference finals. This is what I mean about the randomness, man. So game 1, let's see what the Tampa Bay Lightning can do. That's a 2-0 victory. All right. Riding off to game number 2. See, I was hoping that we might run into like a team like Washington or Pittsburgh. I don't know how the hell the Buffalo, they must have been a wild card team because they're in our division. Wild card team that beat 2 Metro teams to face us in the conference finals. There you go, Vasilevsky allowing 5 goals against the Sabres there. And I think in this roster update, the Sabres do still have some firepower. It's not the Sabres of the real NHL. Jack Eichel with Jeff Skinner, and Skinner's one of those snipers in this game. They got Sam Reinhart as well. Ristolainen gets a crap ton of points. Montour's there. But there you go. The Tampa Bay Lightning 4-2 victory. Man, we're going to run the table here. Are you kidding me? I put together some pretty good teams in GM mode and I never got these kind of results. What is the series lead? 2-1 for your Tampa Bay Lightning. I really thought, I was hoping anyways, but this is why we got to do the experiments and be true. I was really hoping that we would lose in like the first or second round, and it would be because of Vasilevsky. You know what I mean? Like the offense would kind of still be there, but the goaltender wouldn't. And then we go to the Quicktime season simulation style for the playoffs, and all of a sudden we run the table and Vasilevsky wins the Conn Smythe. That's what I was hoping for because that would what's it called? That would prove my point. But this is why we got to do those experiments. You never know. Might just be completely random, right? Buffalo 1-0, and there you go. They got it 3-0. Our offense has gone somewhere here in the playoffs against the Buffalo Sabres. 2-1 loss in overtime and a 3-0 loss right there. 3-2 lead for the Buffalo Sabres here in the conference finals up against the Tampa Bay Lightning. Let's see what we got. Game number 6. They're going to, 2 goals early. Marcus Johansson. 1 goal. Can we get another 2-goal third period to maintain? No, we cannot. And the Buffalo Sabres are going to defeat the Tampa Bay Lightning. All right, so a real-time simulation. All right, when you go into the game, craziness can happen. Now, I know you're going to want to see what the Buffalo Sabres lineup looked like. Just show you them so we can compare the two teams. We already know, though, once you get to the playoffs, I mean, nothing's a guarantee. They got Jeff Skinner at Eichel's at 91. Don't really have the depth down there. Yeah, not the greatest team. I'm willing to bet the 2 defensemen, maybe. And what about the goaltender? Hutton? Oh God, you know what I mean? Like, ooh. But it does make sense that it's more random. That's another finding that does make sense because the real-time simulation gave us our worst season. Even though the first 2 rounds we were looking like a good team, all of a sudden the conference finals, bam, it just doesn't work. Yanni Gord, Stamkos, Kuch. Palat, Point, Killorn, Maroon, Johnson, Sorelli. All right, nothing to write home about down there, but here's where we should beat them. Hedman, McDonough, Sergachev and Shattenkirk, and then, it may not be Olmark, but it is, in the 91 overall, Andrei Vasilevsky, who had a .925 save percentage in the playoffs. So, he didn't get hurt. Interesting. All right, well, we have to finish this experiment. Last thing is we're going to simulate this exact same season where we did the whole year with the real-time in-game sim, but we're going to do a quick playoff sim. So let's jump to it. So we're back. At the start of the playoffs, the exact same save file. Kucherov's got 92. We finished the year 42, 31, and 9. And now what we're going to do is the quick time simulation for the playoffs. Now, I was hoping, again, that this would yield better results for us, but I have no clue, right? No clue. I was considering, making this the style, because if it was better this way, it would be in your best interest to simulate this way, but I love the in-game sim because it tells a story, so you're kind of between a rock and a hard place, right? So let's sim past the Montreal Canadiens, and let's see what happens here. 4-2 victory in game number 1, an overtime loss in game number 2, 6-4 victory in game number 3, 5-1 victory in game number 4, a loss, and a win. So we had to go to game 7 there against Montreal. The offense was there for us. That 7-1 loss was huge, but a game 7 shutout for Andrei Vasilevsky. Again, we're against the Toronto Maple Leafs because remember, the computers always get the quick sim. Always. They're not going into the games unless they're playing me. right? So let's see what we do up against the Toronto Maple Leafs. What did the Toronto Maple Leafs series go to? 7? That's a 4-1 loss. That's a 5-2 win. Oh man, I can't even keep up with this. This is moving quick. And another Game 7 victory for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Another Game 7 shutout for Andrei Vasilevskiy. So he's doing good. Now, we checked the stats after the second round the last time, so let's do it again. And this is, I'm going to need you guys to chime in the comment section because there's probably a bunch of things that I'm missing, right? So point, Palat, they actually have more points than they did in the quick simulation. And goaltenders, let's see, his save percentage is actually worse. Don't know what to say about that. Perhaps you guys have something, but I don't know. The team has still gotten to the same spot, though. Now, the last time we had to go up against, who was it that we lost to? Oh, it's only going to show me 3 teams there? Is that a glitch? It's only going to show me 1 team that didn't make it. Now it's only going to show me 2 teams that didn't make it. Now it's going to show me 6 teams that made it. Do I just have to keep clicking until I get the right one? What? Oh, it's the Buffalo Sabres, right? Yeah, it was the Buffalo Sabres. All right, whatever, man. Just one thing after another in this game. I'll have to make a video about that. All right, so conference finals up against the Pittsburgh Penguins. Lose game 1, win game 2, win game 3. Game 4, victory, 5, 6. All right, never mind. The same randomness can happen. We had a 3-1 series lead, 2-1 loss, 5-3 loss, 2-1 loss, and the Pittsburgh Penguins are out. So, I don't know. It might be exactly the same. The only concrete finding that I came across was the power play percentage and power play point totals. They were sky high for the in-game simulation, so perhaps more power plays happen, right? But I didn't see anything for goaltender. I didn't see anything for player. I didn't see anything like that. Maybe I missed something, but this is where you guys chime in. Did you guys notice anything at all? It was very interesting because we got to the Eastern Conference Finals in both cases. So yeah, I can't blame anyone. Let's go back to Andrei Vasilevskiy. Let's see if the Pittsburgh Penguins series brought him back down to earth at all. Player stats. No clue, man. No clue what those findings say. I'm still gonna simulate real time when I'm doing my GM modes. 919. I mean, it's serviceable. It's not like when we had Tuukka Rask below 900. So it must have just been the team makeup that I had. I don't know. What do you guys think? The only difference that I could make out was the power play. Everything else was fairly similar. And, I mean, I could do multiple seasons of doing the in-game simulation to see if we can get to that 50-win season, but I don't want to do that because that's going to take forever. So chime in. Let me know. How did this experiment go? We might have had a dud here, ladies and gentlemen. Only one finding, more power plays in the real-time simulation. What do you guys think? Let me know. And I will see you in the next Can We video. Hey guys, Johnny here, and thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, give us a like, hit that subscribe button, and make sure notifications are on so you don't miss out on any new content. We also live stream on Twitch where I take days off my life for your entertainment. Sonny Gray, get out of it. You stupid pieces of shit! I should have gone with Jose for Hernandez! Oh my God, pitching change. Fernandez, get your ass in there. Oh, I swear to God, baseball God just decided to all over me. Grand slam. Oh, yeah. Make me miss the playoffs with a first-ranked team. Year 2, 30 games above 500. No divisional win. Trip to the wild card. First inning.